What's going on, everybody? It's your observant lineman, Uche Nwaneri. Russell Wilson says he still wants to play in Seattle, but if the Seahawks were thinking about trading him, there's a couple of places that he would request that they seek a trade. Now, this is kind of, a weird subliminal way of a quarterback potentially sending a signal that he is ready to move on from the team he's won a Super Bowl with. Let's take a look at this tweet that has been made official through Bleacher Report and trying to find out what exactly is the situation with Russell Wilson. It says here that Russell Wilson's camp has broached trade destinations with the Seahawks per sources, and the Dolphins, Jets, Saints, and Raiders have been mentioned. Some people in the NFL think a trade could happen in the near future. Now, this is trending right now for, obviously the reason that this has been a quarterback who got picked in the third round by the Seahawks and has been the face of this team, of the franchise, since he's been in Seattle. Not only that, he's been one of the faces of the NFL. He's won a Super Bowl with these guys. It's been a Seattle Seahawk NFC West since he's been in with the franchise. So we're looking at something that could potentially be a huge situation for the Seahawks, and not in a good way, because if they end up deciding to trade Russell Wilson, there's obviously a good chance that would happen with an NFC team, and that, of course, is based on what he says about the teams he wants to play for. Now, these teams obviously are also teams that need quarterbacks. Maybe not so much the Jets and the Dolphins. I think Sam Darnold's actually played very well, considering that he doesn't really have a team around him at all. And the Dolphins with Tua Tagovailoa, there's a little bit of potential tensions there in Miami as well. There are some people saying that the players in the locker room don't think of him as a leader. They don't feel like he's the guy. But those are all things that are speculative. So it really doesn't mean much of anything. So in the Dolphins scenario, they've got a quarterback, potential franchise quarterback. The Jets, if they can get their shit together, they've got a quarterback. The Raiders have Derek Carr, and honestly, the Raiders, I don't know if there's a huge difference. If I'm being quite honest, I don't know if there's going to be a huge enough difference if Russell Wilson goes to the Raiders to get them over the hump. And Derek Carr, he is kind of looking like he might be trade bait right now for the Raiders. So it could be a situation where that could be a potential trade that worked, but it would put it would put the Seahawks in a pretty precarious situation, because they've got a ton of free agents on their team that they've got to address, and they're not going to have the money to keep half of them. Now the Saints is probably the most interesting of all of these teams when you look at this situation, because the Saints are in dire need, and dire is probably an understatement. They have to figure out their quarterback transition from Drew Brees right now, because they're going to be in a situation very soon where Jameis Winston is going to be their best option. Now, I'm not saying Jameis Winston can't be a serviceable quarterback, but when you go, you're looking to kind of minimize the drop-off from peak Drew Brees to the next quarterback. And, Jameis Winston is a pretty big drop-off. And not only that, this team is $71 million over the cap. They don't even have any money to get anybody new if they wanted to. So they're really in a bad situation here. They don't have a real out to be able to afford to have a player like Russell Wilson on their roster in the first place, even though they really would be the best match. But wait, there's more. NFL update right here says more. After watching the Bucs-Chiefs Super Bowl in Tampa, Russell Wilson spoke with Pete Carroll to discuss how they'll fix the O-line. Good. That's a quarterback who realizes where everything starts and ends on the offensive side of the ball. If you have a plan of being successful as a football team, your offensive line has to be the most well-polished, well-prepared unit on the field. Has to be the healthiest unit on the field. We all saw with Kansas City, Yes, the Bucs got hella pressure on Patrick Mahomes, but that offensive line was decimated. It was essentially 3 positions on that line where guys were playing out of place. So it really does matter how your offensive line goes into these kind of games. And you know, the Seahawks have had problems with that. The Seahawks have had problems on their offensive line with protecting Russell Wilson. That's a concern to him. He brought this to Pete Carroll. And Wilson wanted to know the team's plan, but it wasn't relayed to him, at least not to his satisfaction. Wilson then took the message public. So there you have it. This is what sparked this out of nowhere subliminal message to the Seattle Seahawks that they need to pay attention to what the concerns of Russell Wilson are. Now, hey, that's a player using his power. That's a player understanding the leverage he actually has over the team and kind of putting himself out there in the public domain, because you really don't see this. You really don't see this kind of thing done in football. It's just kind of become one of the new age ways that players are beginning to find some power to try and put themselves in the best position possible for the team. And at least in this scenario, Russell Wilson is trying to push for more to be done to make the team better at a position where they admittedly need to be better. They do need to be better, much better on the offensive line. So I think it's a reasonable way. It's a clever way for Russell to kind of put out his real airing of his grievance to the public domain, because he knows that people will run with this, and people are running with it already. A quarterback doesn't tell a team, hey, I want to play for y'all, but if y'all are trying to trade me, these are the spots that I'd like to go. That doesn't happen in the NFL unless there is probably something on the horizon. We'll see how this shapes up, though. It's very interesting, to say the least. It's very interesting to see that this is actually in the public domain right now for me as a player. So let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments down below. Do you think that Russell Wilson will be traded by the Seahawks before we get into OTAs, before we get to the NFL draft? Leave your comments down below. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe to the Observant Lineman Uche Nwaneri. Appreciate you guys very much for checking this video out, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace.